do you feel a responsibility to the queer community? Have you felt that? Do you feel that? Do you feel that even more in the current climate? Like, um, for representation?
I mean, when I signed up to be an actor, I didn't really think that it would come with like these, titles, and which is great. I would gladly, represent my communities. It was just kind of like the more you got like more of a platform, the more people were like, well, great, now you can speak on this. And it's like, great.
Mm,
Um, but, I gladly speak for, the queer community and represent them. I don't speak for them, but represent them in a positive way as much as I can. Um, but it's so funny because for a while, you know, everything has kind of its moments too. Like, queer media was kind of like I wasn't really, I was sought out for a quote, but I wasn't being sought out to be on the cover of like, a magazine. And which I think is very problematic because I mean, just in recent years, I did a cover for The Advocate, which is great. Uh, but we don't see that queer love and queer life looks in every body and every shape and every color. And for a long time, it was very monochromatic and it
mm.
was very Adonis and very six pack. And it's like, there's queer people out there who don't necessarily look like that and don't necessarily are drawn to that. Not that anything's bad to that, but they're not drawn necessarily to that. That's not their type, and that's fine.
Just like everyone's attracted to different people. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I
Hmm.
think in the queer community, we're at fault of that as well, Um, just to think about, how it took so long to put someone, who's trans on the cover, put someone who is not, 6'2", blonde, blue-eyed on the cover. It's just like it's a work in progress, and we worked on it and come a long way, but there's also work to be done all around. And I love to use my platform, my voice to advocate for, kids who are coming out of, middle America who don't see themselves on screen. And
Mm.
my favorite thing is when people come to me at Comic Cons or something, and they're like, and so like I've been having a hard time. I'm queer. I'm the only person of color in my community, and I'm queer. And it's like so already people are like, that's a double whammy for
Yeah.
So that's difficult to hear when there's kids out there who are having a hard time and they want to see themselves represented on screen and film and print, and they don't. And that's why because if I would have had someone who looked like me growing up, it probably would have made it a little bit even more easier for me to be like, you know what? Yes, I can. Look, Harvey did it. And if I can do that for someone, which I know I have because people have come up to me and said, seeing you with your, confidence on the cover of this or do this in this show has made me realize it's going to be okay and I'm going to be
Mm,
okay. And that for
mm.
me is like the biggest, like, I wear that badge with honor, and it makes me want to do even more, to showcase that, and that's why I push for that. That's why I push for a magazine cover. That's why I push for, not for the vanity of it, which is great to have a cover, but like for the idea that like there's kids out there who need to see, people like me succeeding and thriving in my body, and like statistically proven, you would not think that someone like me would be in my position. You might
Mm.
think that they might get a role now and then that they might not be, but that they would definitely not be going to the Met Gala. They definitely would not be on the cover of a magazine. They definitely would, statistically, that's what I wouldn't be described as that person who does those things and who
Right.
gets those accolades. But I am, and I'm doing them. And the more I do them, the more I want those kids to see that because it's up to them. Because now we're like getting to a point where like we need to pass the baton and we need to like hold the elevator door open.
Mm.
And that's my thing. It's just like I know that there's talent who's up and coming who need that little bit of a hold the door for a second because as soon as they get here, now we have more people representing, and they can take it to the higher level and higher level as well. So it's just passing it forward. I always say a feather in one of our hats is a feather in all our hats because it's just moving us along.